Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 2:30 afternoon weather update. We do this every day here, Monday through Sunday. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment, and I'll hopefully be able to get through them all as I go through the forecast. But if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. And through the rest of the day, it is just going to be gorgeous out there, sunny and very warm, and it gets even warmer by the time we get into tomorrow. However, we are still tracking out that cold front moving in Sunday evening, and that'll bring in that chance for an isolated severe storm risk. So that's what we're going to be on alert for Sunday night. So much of the day on Sunday is going to be just fine. You can still get out and enjoy the day. It's mainly late Sunday night, maybe even lingering closer to the overnight hours that we'll see that severe weather threat potentially. There are still some caveats that may kind of throw this kind of into the trash, but we'll break it all down here on our streaming show, and then that cold front will cool us back down to right around average for the start of the work week before warming up through the middle of next week before another front moves in, and that'll cool us down by the end of next week as well. So kind of up and down here through the next week or so, but get out there and enjoy it this afternoon because it is fabulous. Go for a walk, eat some lunch outside. But let's start off with a look at our severe storm risk. Not much has really changed since yesterday. The better chances for severe weather still remains to the north and east of the tri-state, but here at home we all sit at that level 1 to 2 risk of a few severe thunderstorms, maybe a little bit better to the north and east of the Evansville area in areas like Princeton and Jasper and kind of along and north of I-64. But here's a look at each individual hazards. We're still mainly concerned if storms do develop for the potential of damaging wind gusts and hail. Not too concerned with flooding or tornadoes, but I don't want to completely rule out, an isolated tornado. The risks for tornadoes are, again, much better off to the north and east of the tri-state. We think that as those storms initialize to our north, they'll kind of form more of a line as they sag farther south. So that does lend itself more to a damaging wind and hail risk here at home within the tri-state. But I mentioned there is still a little bit of a caveat here, and models are going back and forth on whether or not this strong cap in place ahead of that cold front will hold or if it will erode away, which would allow that potential for some storm. So I'm going to take you through two models here. This is our in-house model. This model has been very consistent on keeping that cap in place and not showing much in the way of development headed into Sunday night. So you can see that cold front moving in here from the north, and as it does so, it keeps a lot of that shower and storm activity off to the north and east of the tri-state. Not a whole lot going on here within the actual region. So that's something we've been noting here over the last couple of runs. Since yesterday, this really hasn't shown much thunderstorm development, indicating that that cap would hold and it'd be a little bit stronger. So we would kind of escape this pretty much unscathed here with not much more than a few isolated clouds and a few sprinkles. Now, the other models do show a little bit more in the way of shower or storm development, but still not a whole lot. It would still mainly be an isolated risk, even if we do see that cap erode away. So this model kind of more in line with that potential for an isolated storm, possibly maybe farther off to the north, but they do significantly weaken as they trend further southward here along that front. So not a slam dunk severe weather threat by any means, but I do keep mentioning this issue with a cap, and I do want to do a little explainer. I showed this yesterday, but we know we still get a lot of folks who are interested in a little bit more of the science behind the forecast. So what exactly is a cap? Well, this cap is essentially a warm layer of air much higher up in the atmosphere. So what does that mean in terms of thunderstorm development? Well, during the day, we get hot, of course, and it starts to warm up at the surface, which then, in turn, leads to rising air. And that rising air is going to continue to rise as long as the temperatures, as we go up with height, continue to cool down. We all know that colder air is more dense than warmer air. So if it's warmer than its surroundings, it's going to continue to lift and eventually develop into some clouds, showers, and storms. However, if that warm layer is in place and it's thick enough, it can kind of squander that that chance for the parcels of air to continue to rise. So that inhibits any thunderstorm growth. Now, if there is some erosion of that cap or no cap at all, that warmer air will continue to rise and develop into showers and storms, which is what would be possible here Sunday night. But again, a lot of the models still going back and forth whether or not that cap holds or if it doesn't. But if it doesn't hold and we do see an isolated storm develop, it would have the potential to produce mainly damaging wind gusts and some hail. I put a level 1 here for tornadoes just because you can never rule it out here in the tri-state in the month of March, but we're primarily concerned with that potential for a damaging wind gust or even an isolated hail threat. So that's kind of the latest on that alert for tomorrow night. So again, fairly isolated, not widespread by any means, but we'll continue to kind of fine tune this forecast here through the rest of today and throughout tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a better handle on if that cap will hold or not. But let's take a look at what's going on out there right now. It is gorgeous. As I mentioned at the top of the show here, we have this area of high pressure that's built in over the desert southwest, and that's bringing excessive heat to portions of the southwestern United States, and even here in the tri-state. Dry, not quite excessive heat, but definitely above average. We're seeing temperatures, as high as 20, maybe even closer to 30 degrees above average for this time of year. And looking at our radar, we did have a few clouds stream in later on in the morning and into the early afternoon. Some of that's still lingering over western Kentucky, and some folks maybe even caught a little sprinkle from some of those clouds there in Hancock County, but mostly dry here across the tri-state and will continue to be so as we go through the rest of this evening. And taking a look at those current temperatures, we've warmed mostly into the upper 70s to low 80s across the area, 82 degrees in Madisonville, and even up towards Oakland City, 77 in Evansville, Henderson, Newburgh, and Lewisport, sitting at around 79 in southern Illinois, up towards Fairfield. And over the next few hours, we'll tack on another few degrees. We'll likely top out in the lower 80s here in the Evansville area with plentiful sunshine, and we'll stay mostly clear overnight tonight with temperatures dropping down into the lower 60s. Winds will become southwesterly and start to increase out of the southwest through tomorrow. So it'll become a little bit breezier through our day on Sunday. Gusts up to 25 miles per hour will be possible, but it's that in combination with the sunshine that will help us reach the mid 80s by tomorrow afternoon. And that would be potentially record-breaking heat here. Our previous record was 80 degrees set back in 1988. So if our forecast holds, we'd certainly putting Sunday into the record books. But we do have that cold front moving in here Sunday night. That will bring us back down to reality by the time we get into Monday. A fairly average day for this time of year, topping out in the upper 50s with lows in the upper 30s to around 40 degrees. And then we'll pop back up into the low 60s there by the time we get into Tuesday, climbing through the 70s and maybe even topping out in the lower 80s once again by the time we get into Thursday, before another front slides in here and takes us back down into the upper 50s for the end of next week. Now, in terms of rain chances here outside of tomorrow night, we will have some more slight chances for rain headed into the middle and end of next week. It looks like Thursday and mainly on Friday will be our best chance for some rainfall. So here's a look at some of the longer range models. This is the GFS showing you Wednesday morning will be dry out there. Winds coming up out of the south, mostly cloudy. It's not until we get into Wednesday night, maybe early Thursday morning, we see some showers moving in and out of here. And then we should dry out through Thursday afternoon before that cold front slides in here very, very early Friday morning, and that'll bring in that potential for some of those rain showers, and then that will clear out of here by Friday night and into Saturday. So there's a look at your 7-day forecast. Just to kind of wrap it all up in a little bit of a bow for you, and while I'll put that up there, I'll take a look at some of the comments. All right. Laura Gray is watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for joining us. Justin asking about the cap breaking. So hopefully I already explained that with that explainer there earlier. Angie says the shorts and summer clothes are out, and she's watching from Vincennes. Yes, I want you guys to take advantage of this beautiful day here, so I don't want to keep you too long on the weather stream. Go outside, sit out on the porch or on the lawn chair, go for a walk or a hike. bust out the grill. Great night for grilling. I highly recommend that. Throw a few steaks, maybe some burgers and dogs on there, and have a great night with some friends and family. And again, tomorrow's going to be another great day as well. Very dry, very, very warm up until that cold front moves in late Sunday night. And then again, we're 50-50 on that chance for even storms developing. But if they do, there would be that isolated severe risk for damaging winds and even some hail. But mostly we're looking at a cool down for the start of the work week, topping out at around average into the upper 50s on Monday before climbing back up through the 60s, 70s, and 80s there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with some more slight chances for rainfall there Thursday, better chances for rain headed into Friday. But that's all I've got for the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30, so I'm going to send you on your way, and I'll send you to 14 News at 6 for all the latest news and weather headlines. And of course, I'll be right back here on streaming at 9 o'clock tonight for our weather show, and then back on air at 10 later on. So enjoy the rest of your day and be safe.